Hi guys, this is Sai Kumar Kurtiwada. In this video, we will learn about accessing the HTML using a query selector of a DOM object in our web API. Let me quickly jump into Visual Studio Code. Here, I have created one index.html, index.js. My index.js has been embedded with my index.html. Now, we saw all the different types of accessing the element methods where we have used get element by id, get element by tag name, get element by class name. So here we are specifying particular element or a class or an id, that means a selector, but we are not combining all this. But by using query selector, we can combine any format with any selector and we can access the data from our document object. So let me create const element is equal to document dot query selector of I have to pass my query selector. For now, let me pass h1 as my query selector, and this would be a element select. Let me write a console.log of element. So we'll be getting only one element, that is the first occurrence of this particular query selector. Let me go back and clear it off. You got the first one, that is h1 accessing the HTML elements. Whereas if you have two elements with the same h1, and let me name it as heading 2 and save this. Now let me reload. If you see here, even though it is accessing the first element only, it is acting like a get element by tag name. Let me consider one id is equal to heading 1, and let me copy the same thing and paste here. Let me give heading 2. So now I want to access h1 with heading 1. That means I can access by using hash heading 1, save this and go back, clear it off and reload. If you see here, we are getting only the element which is having heading 1. So in this case, it is acting like a get element by id because we are giving an id. Now what I want to do, just want to give a div element, and inside this div element, let me create a class, something like class sample. Sample is my class, and let me save this. Inside this sample, I want to get all the h1 elements. For example, I want to get the h1 elements inside this sample. Let me create one more div with the same content, but this time I'll make it as sample2 for my div. That means for my class, I'm making it as sample2. In this case, I want to access h1 of the elements which are inside this class. For example, if I give a class selector called as sample, you will be getting this sample, this div. So let me go back, clear it off and reload. You will be getting that sample, and inside the sample we got this content. So we have observed how the query selector works with our ID, with our element and also with our classes. Let me combine both of them. So for example, I want to get a sample, and inside that sample I want to target only for heading 1. Why? Because if you are targeting only for the sample, then you are getting the two elements, but inside this sample I want to get only that heading 1. So in this case I am restricting this heading 1 with my class name. So for that sake, I can use something like sample, that means the first parent element I have targeted for this, and now I want to target for this id. So id can be implemented or indicated by using hash. That means sample space hash. Space indicates inner html. If you are using like this, it will target only for the particular element. So let me use space and save this. Now we are telling our document to fetch a particular element who is having parent as sample and the current element as head 1. So in this case, we will be getting only this head 1. Let me clear it off and reload. You will be getting only head 1. For example, if you want to access heading 2, you can give this heading 2 as an id and save this, clear it off and reload. So you will be getting heading 2. That means whenever you want to get an element based on some formats, whatever the format I am giving here, it will be getting and it will be searching that particular elements and it will return the data. For example, I gave heading 3. Heading 3 does not exist in my DOM, so it will return null. So let me reload this. You got null. So that is how you can fetch all the elements with this particular format, and you can access those elements by using different combinations of selectors. So now, to summarize this, a query selector is a method which will access the elements in the given format and by combining different types of selectors. To fetch all the selectors with this particular pattern or a format, then you can use query selector all. That we will discuss in the next upcoming video. For now, query selector will access the first occurrence of this pattern and it will return the elements. Hope you like my explanation. If you like my video, like, share, subscribe to my channel for more updates. Signing off. Thank you.